Before we get started, I just want to mention that this video is sponsored by the Kalam app, an app that allows you to learn Quranic Arabic so you could finally understand what you're reciting in prayer, but there'll be more on that later. Enjoy the rest of the video. Hello, ex-Muslim Arab.
Hello. Am I audible?
You're audible. How can I help you?
Well, I have a problem with the Iman part, right? The Iman is split into 6, right? بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر والقدر خيره وشره, right?
Okay.
Most of them I can understand, except the last 2. القدر خيره وشره and اليوم الآخر.
Okay.
In Islam, we believe in determinism, right?
Depends on what you mean.
Allah Azza wa Jal has determined that where is everyone going to be.
Depends on what you mean.
Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz. Do you believe in the Lawh al-Mahfuz?
Yes.
What is the Lawh al-Mahfuz?
He has written everything down.
Yeah. How can this be a test if the scores have already been made and I cannot change them?
Because they are unknown to you.
It is unknown to me, but what's the point of this test?
The point of this test is so you don't have a hujjah against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you could see what your hands have done.
But I didn't choose to do any of this. God has
determined. Okay. So
I don't have a will.
No, you have a will. So that's where the misunderstanding is. Where does Islam teach that Allah forces you to do anything?
Well, didn't he harden the heart of the Pharaoh?
Okay, so before you go to harden and what that means, where does Islam teach that Allah forces you to do anything?
Well, it's I don't fully understand this subject. That's the
so you don't fully understand it, so you left Islam?
I'm not really. I didn't leave Islam. Some person told me to put this name. I'm an agnostic.
You're an agnostic, but you have an Arabic accent. You speak Arabic.
Yeah.
But you're not an ex-Muslim?
I don't. I pray like once or something every 2 days, only because I feel really bad.
Okay, but you're still Muslim, right? You consider yourself a Muslim?
No, I don't think so. If you miss 2 prayers, you're not a Muslim.
That's not true.
Isn't it? I think Ibn Baz said so.
Yeah, okay. And there's a difference of opinion on this matter. The majority of scholars have said that leaving your prayer is not kufr that takes you outside of Islam. It's a kind of kufr, but it's not a kufr that takes you outside of Islam.
Okay, but
can you tell me, and certainly not just missing 1 or 2 prayers.
Yeah.
But anyways, so you consider yourself a Muslim? You're born in a Muslim household?
Yeah, I'm born in a Muslim household.
All right. Okay, cool. So why did you leave Islam?
Because I believe that God is the fairest judge, right?
Okay.
And God is Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that He is nothing like us humans, right? And from the idea that He already wrote everything down, and this is just His plan unfolding, this seems like someone wrote it down. This doesn't seem like godly judgment, especially when He already wrote where we're going to go.
1 second. You said it doesn't seem like what?
Godly judgment.
Why is it not godly judgment?
Because He already determined where I'm going to go. He said
He only determined in the sense that He knows about it, not in the sense that He forces you to do it.
How can that make sense?
That's why when you say determinism, I have to elaborate on what that means. We're compatibilists. So we think free will and determination or predetermination are compatible. Meaning that when God, it's like me having insight of the future and just writing it down on a piece of paper. Me having knowledge of a future event does not mean that I'm causing directly that event to take place. How does that follow?
Can He write something down? Can He change the future?
Everything that is gonna change in the future is already written down. Do you understand? There's no such thing as change that wasn't written down. Your initial choice, your change of mind, you starting to do something, then ending up doing something else is already written down. It's all foreknown.
Yeah, I remember, correct me if I'm wrong on this, I remember, Ahmed bin Hanbal.
Yeah.
Ahmed bin Hanbal was asked about the question of the qadar, okay? And he said this is the secret of Allah and no Muslim should discuss it, right? And
That's
the
right.
same thing, Uthman ibn Affan, if I'm not wrong.
That's right. You shouldn't discuss qadr for that reason. Look how easily confused you are.
Yeah, but why can't we, if a Christian came up and said, hey, you shouldn't discuss the Trinity, God is 3 in 1, and this is the secret of God. What's stopping their argument? Your argument be correct.
You're conflating things. I'm not telling non-Muslims to not talk about qadr. I'm saying if you are already locally justified in your belief and you've established that your belief is correct and you've established proof in Islam, you have sufficient reason to believe in Islam, then thinking about qadr is blameworthy. You shouldn't do it. But we're not saying that nobody in the world can criticize Islam and argue against it. Certainly not the case.
But what if I don't? What if I'm not in that group? Right? What if I am not one of the people who cannot criticize it? Right? What if I'm not a Muslim now?
What if you're not a Muslim?
Yeah.
Then you can do whatever you want. It's your life, man. You could criticize whatever you want. I can't stop you from to do what you know.
Can I ask you about Ibn Taymiyyah?
Yes.
Ibn Taymiyyah in Majmu' al-Fatawa, I remember, I think it was the 6th book, he was explaining one of the ahadith about how God looks like. And I couldn't understand this one bit. I even looked in the explanation of Albani, right? قال رأيت ربي في صورة شاب أمرد أشعث قمر.
Okay, so I'm starting to think you're a LARP. All right. So Ibn Taymiyyah clearly states that's a vision and a dream.
Yeah.
That's how God actually looks like. So are you LARPing or are you doing tadlis or what are you doing exactly right now?
I'm asking a question.
Okay. So
and he's actually
if you've actually read it, then you would know Ibn Taymiyyah clearly says that this is a dream. Or are you like a Shi'i? Are you a Shi'i LARP or what are you? You could be honest with me, man.
I'm not a Shi'i LARP.
Okay, so if you've read Majmu' al-Fatawa, because you're quoting Majmu' al-Fatawa, Juz' al-Saba', Safha, kada, Ibn Taymiyyah. So I'm gonna assume that you've read Majmu' al-Fatawa. You probably haven't.
I didn't read it fully. I only read things about Aqidah.
Okay, beautiful. So no, we don't think that Allah looks like a young boy with curly hair. That is a dream. Does that answer your question?
That does answer my question, but what can that even mean? Every hadith has a meaning, right? And we should work with that hadith. What can that mean?
What do you mean? What can that mean? It's plain Arab, plain English. The Prophet saw Allah in his dream, and this is what he saw in his dream. Just like Yusuf alayhi salam saw a bunch of celestial bodies prostrating to him. Doesn't mean that his brothers and his mother and father are literal celestial bodies.
Yeah, but
and actually that's
in
what
the
Ibn
dream,
Taymiyyah says himself.
Yeah, but in the dream, that dream has a meaning, right? The celestial bodies represent.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what that. Okay, whatever the meaning is, whatever it may be. What's the metaphysical issue? What's the tashbih? What's the tashsim? What's the theological issue? Let's say I don't know the meaning. Okay, what does that change, Yani? Like, is there because you're supposed to bring a theological issue. So what is the theological issue exactly? That do you think that God can't appear in that form in a dream?
Yeah, but the Christians can say that. What's the theological issue in like God becoming Jesus and being crucified?
Because they think God in reality became a man, which is muhal aqlan. It's logically impossible.
Isn't that also logically impossible that he becoming a
no?
like a
What's the contradiction? for him to for somebody to see a dream, and in the dream there is a boy that they identified as God. What's the contradiction? It doesn't map onto reality at all. It doesn't speak to the ontology of God. So what's the contradiction?
Okay, I can understand your claim.
Yeah.
Can I bring something other than that?
Sure, man, I guess.
There was a hadith, I'm not really, I don't think I can remember it fully, but it goes as خلق الله آدم على صورته.
على صورته. Yeah, what about it?
Ibn Baz said that the same in the same way that God has a face, and in the same way that God has hands, he created Adam, right? But Al-Albani said he explained it in a different way. He said خلق الله آدم على صورته ألا وهو الشخص نفسه. يعني this hadith comes before saying that it's forbidden to beat someone's face, right? So خلق الله آدم على صورة الشخص اللي بتضربه. So I couldn't understand any.
So what's that? So what's your question? You're just going on about Albani and Ibn Baz, and what's the question?
I'm sorry. My question is, well, do we look like God?
Yeah, this guy. Are you LARPing or something? No. So no, we don't look like God. Whatever that means. I don't even know what that. I don't even know what it means to look like God. Are we created in God's image? Yes. Yes, we're created in God's image. What does that mean? There is resemblance in our properties, but there's no resemblance in our ontology.
With Ramadan being just around the corner, many of us want to complete the Quran in 30 days. But how many of us know how to recite the Quran properly or even understand its true meaning? Well, that's exactly where the Kalam app comes into play. The Kalam app is an Arabic learning tool that teaches you how to pronounce the Arabic of the Quran and finally understand its true meaning. So whether you want to practice your tajweed or whether you finally want to connect with the words of the revealed Quran in its original Arabic tongue, Kalam is the perfect tool for you. Imagine reading the Quran this Ramadan and finally being able to understand the Quran in its pure Arabic original language without relying on a translation. Imagine standing up in prayer in Taraweeh and finally having that khushu' because you could understand the words that are being recited. There's no better time to start. Download Kalam today and experience the Quran this Ramadan like you've never experienced before. You'll find the link in the description below.
Ontology? I don't know that meaning.
Okay, we don't resemble God in his reality. We're made in his image, i.e., God has certain attributes that we also have, but not to the same extent.
Okay, I understand.
And this is explained by another hadith about the moon. Let me just pull it up, okay?
By the way, I did some quick research. The earlier hadith about God looking like a man with no beard is actually incorrect.
Brother, before you move on, let me just pull up the hadith that I'm looking for. The members of the first group to get into paradise would have their faces as bright as full moon during the night. So this is the Arabic. إن أول زمرة تدخل الجنة على صورة القمر ليلة البدر والتي تليها على إلى آخره. Okay, so the point is here, the Prophet says that the first group that enters paradise will enter paradise with their faces will have a strong light in the image of the moon. Okay.
Okay.
Is the Prophet saying that the faces of the believers literally look like the moon? No. It's saying that there is a shared property between the moon and the faces of the believers. What is that? Brightness.
Light. Okay.
في سورة القمر. Okay? So
Okay.
this is what the scholars,
That makes sense.
they use this, they interpret the hadith that, look, being made في صورة شيء,
Mhm.
it doesn't necessitate or entail that you literally look identically to that thing. Rather,
Okay.
there is a shared relation between the two.
Can I ask a last question?
Sure.
Let's say that I wanted to go back to Islam. Is there a tawbah for me?
Brother, you know the answer to that.
No, I remember like if you made fun of God, you're gonna get killed no matter what happens, even if you do tawbah.
So yeah, Shari'i rulings, hudud, have nothing to do whether your tawbah is accepted or not, as far as
Nothing?
I know. Okay, so just because your tawbah is not accepted in the world, meaning in terms of Islamic state, it doesn't mean your tawbah is not accepted to God. So for some hudud, your earthly tawbah is not accepted, meaning you're executed regardless of whether you repent or not. For example,
Okay.
some scholars say that somebody who blasphemes the prophet or somebody who does it continuously, right? Their repentance is not accepted on earth, meaning the state will still carry out their execution. But that doesn't mean that Allah hasn't accepted your tawbah. It just means that the state doesn't recognize your tawbah. You understand?
Okay.
But Allah
understand.
subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it clear in the Quran that, O my servants who have transgressed against themselves, do not despair, do not lose hope in the mercy of Allah. Indeed, Allah forgives all sins. In Allah yaghfiru ad-dunuba jami'a. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that whoever, or I'm just going to summarize, that whoever comes to him with a pure heart, having believed in Allah and in the last day and in the angels and so on and so forth, he will be in paradise, and وَلَا خَوْفَ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ, that there will be no fear upon him, nor will they be grieved. And they will be in paradise, تَجْرِي مِن تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارِ. They will be in paradise below which rivers, or they will be below which rivers flow underneath, right? So, and we have Hadith Qudsi, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that if my servant, I'm just going to summarize, okay, I'm not quoting exactly, if my servant spends his whole life sinning and then he calls upon me, then I will reach out to him, I will run towards him. All of these different hadith. The point is, and you mentioned it, Allah is Ghafoor, Allah is Rahim. It's not too big, wal-iyadu billah, hasha lillah, it's not too big for him to forgive you. You're an insect, you're nothing, I'm nothing. Right? Your disobedience, your kufr, your disbelief is not too big for him. Right?
Okay.
Allah ghaniyun 'anil ibad. He is not in need of us, we are in need of him. وَنَحْنُ الْفُقَرَاءِ إِلَيْهِ. We are the poor ones to him, we are in need of him. So of course, this, your repentance is accepted without a shadow of a doubt.
Can I ask, like, you made me understand what I didn't understand earlier with the moon explanation. But there's a thing I don't understand. I don't think there's any justification to go to hell forever, no matter what you did on this life. Like, how can that be fair?
Says who?
Burning forever. I know it's an emotional argument, and I know I shouldn't even use it, but this is something that keeps digging in my own heart.
Yeah, says who? I'm like, well, what's the problem? Do you have like do you have an argument for that, or it's just something that's coming from your own self? It's fine, it's no problem. People have these internal conflicts. It's not a problem. But I'm just wondering, is this something that is impossible, or is this something that is unlikely? Is there an issue with it? What's
I don't really understand this, to be honest.
Well, is there a logical argument against the eternality of hell? Is what I'm asking.
Is it eternal? I've heard some scholars saying it isn't.
Yeah, some scholars. It's very fringe view. I don't think it's it's the best reading of the text. I think the text is clear. It's clear enough. But yes, like what's wrong with hell being eternal?
It's just that a lot of humans can easily forgive, and God is not weaker than humans, and humans can forgive people if they kill. Humans can forgive people if they like.
Yeah,
For example, if a father,
he could forgive. Absolutely, he could forgive. But if you die upon shirk, then he won't forgive. This is your test. This is your trial. It's either you're a soul that leans towards hell, you're a soul that leans towards paradise. And Allah places you on this earth to carry out what your soul leans toward. So Allah can forgive all sins even after you die, except for shirk and kufr. He does not forgive that, because you are guilty of an eternal sin that is worthy and deserving of an eternal punishment.
Okay, I understand. Thank you for helping me in this. I might need some time and some research. Can you give me some books to read about the subject, especially subject of the afterlife and qadar?
Yeah. So I know there's this one beautiful book, right, that you should definitely read. It's called the Quran. Came out about 1400 years ago. There's another book that you should read. It's called the Seerah of the Prophet. When you read both of these, inshallah, you'll have no doubt.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay. Well, thank you for talking to me.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good one. God bless.